Let your walls cave in. It echoes. Oh, when the night kicks in, it echoes. It echoes, echoes. Living in the present, never in the past. You give me the spark I need to find. I can hear it in the distance, coming out of the dark. It's moving towards you and me. It's coming from the heavens, lighting up the ground. We're oversaturated by the sound. Awakening senses, feeling so alive. The atmosphere is beautiful tonight.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? How you doing? Is your wonderful host for the evening, Dr. Crow, and joining me today on the first ever episode of I Read a Book Once podcast is my good friend and fellow Dungeon and Dragons player, Nick Brown, the man of renown.
Hello there. Hope you're all doing well. Indeed, we did read books. We have read books.
We have read books, and we may have read them once or twice. Haven't read them twice. That defeats the point of the podcast. I read the book once. Who am I kidding? This is going to be it. So what I'm going to be doing with this podcast is that this is just going to be kind of like a bring back of my general pop culture news, views, rants sort of style. I'm not going to be going over a bunch of video essays this time. I'm tired of the argument, and I think a lot of other people are too. Um, just everything's got to be something, right? Some sort of political opinion, whatever. So we're actually going to talk about things that we find enjoyable, things we find interesting, and we'll probably go off on a lot of tangents at some point, right?
Yeah, usually how that goes.
Yep. So today's topic is what I want to cover is Dungeons and Dragons' most overpowered character. It's the original Mary Sue for D&D, one Dritz Dualden. And we're joking, of course. He's actually decently balanced, I probably would think, right?
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't get the Mary Sue vibes from him too much. Probably I imagine maybe perhaps in the future novels, maybe when he's lived for oh goodness, what? How old is he in the newest ones? Like over 200 years at that point.
The half of the series we read, because we've only read like the first half of the series at this point. He's like in
Yeah.
his, what, 60s? 50s?
hmm yeah. Let's in terms of the elf. So let's see. He was born. Sorry, look me. I have the bought that visual dictionary of the Legend of Dritz. Let's see. Born 1297, and then I thought there was a timeline in here somewhere. Oh yeah, there is. See why they put it after. Or, never mind. Yeah, it goes all the way up to 1490 is not where we stopped reading. We ended it. For those that are unaware as well, we only read Exile, no, not Exile, Homeland, all the way up to the Passage to Dawn, which was, according to the Wikipedia, the original ending for the Dritz books, and that's where we decided to stop for now, at least, because there is a lot. There is
We're
well
going
over. We're yeah.
a lot.
We're, yeah, we're
That's,
pushing. Yeah, this is like one of those long-running series that you could compare it to like the Reacher novels or the Sharp books. There's a lot.
let's see here. Passage to Dawn. I'm trying to find out which book number that is. So the books we've
That would be
read:
book 10.
Homeland, Exile, Sojourn, Sojourn, Sojourn.
Oh goodness. You listen to the audiobook, you should know how to pronounce all of them.
I know I should, but you forget who you're talking to. Look, you guys have named yourselves normal names, and I had trouble pronouncing them in game after you told me. Crystal Shard, Streams of Silver, Halfling's Gem, The Legacy, Starless Night, Siege of Darkness, Passage to Dawn. That's the first 10 books of what? Some 39.
39. Oof. Is that including the Sellsword trilogy where it splits off and you learn about like Artemis Entry and his adventures with Jarl Axel?
I do not believe so. Because because I'm looking at the audiobooks right now. After that, they have the Legend of Dritz, the collected stories, which I think is all the short stories spin-offs that happen in between books.
Oh, goodness.
One-Eyed Jack, which is a Jarlaxle book, I think. That's a
That would make sense.
the Tao of Dritz, which I don't know anything about that one. And Betwixt Two Worlds, which I don't know what's going on in that one either. That one is an Audible original.
Oh, okay. So that's probably a recent one.
Yep. The best part about the audiobook series is that, with the exception of The Legend of Dritz collected stories. All of these audiobooks are narrated by Victor Bevine. And he gives it a very melancholy kind of feel to it. It's very calm, very, very chill, very relaxing to listen to.
That's probably a good way to go about them, especially in like the first 3 books. Definitely, you could get that the melancholy.
That
Oh, I
feeling of
can't.
loss, that feeling of not
Yeah,
belonging, it works really well. I
yeah,
especially
especially his.
love the voice he gives the dwarves because he does like a Scottish accent to it. 'Cause,
Yeah, well, the names are Scottish, so that makes sense.
yeah, but it's
Or
very, very much fun, and he has a lot of fun. It's clear he unfortunately has one voice for big bad guy, and it's big dumb bad guy.
oh,
So
that sucks.
throughout the entire thing, oh god, the name of the demon is spacing on me. Hair two.
Yeah.
Yeah, hair two. He's like, all of you are, going to be like, it's the thought that you would give like an ogre, not like the big Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor, you would expect like maybe a deep growly voice, but like some sort of sophistication behind it,
Yeah.
because it is a very intelligent and malevolent being.
I mean,
Uh,
Baylors are the demons before demon lords. So, like, that's the only thing above them. It's like,
yeah, they're like they're the D&D's version. I think we made this joke on actually when we fought a Baylor. They're the D&D's version of the Belrog.
yeah.
But going back to that, I can't say the word melancholy. Good lord, I
Melancholy.
can't say it. But yeah, melancholy. Whew. But that feel because it goes into well because each of the sections of each book starts off with like a little like first person narrative from Dritz himself as he's like recounting events to the audience, and I think that's a good voice at least to have for that.
Oh, yeah. The inner monologue that he's having as he's just like working through his, like the thoughts of what happened, like the chapter before or what happens the chapter after. Because
Hmm.
that's kind of like the framing of the book is that it's Dritz kind of like telling the story like long afterwards, long after the fact, at least with those inner monologues, because the book is written in third person,
Omniscient.
omnipotent. Yeah,
Yeah, third person omniscient. So yeah, third
omniscient.
person omniscient. You know every character's thoughts and everything like that. When the book wants you to,
When
essentially,
the
it's like
book
Lord of
wants
the
you to,
Rings.
because there's a twist in in Passage onto Dawn that is not very much a twist if you're paying any attention.
Yeah, we called that one. I think pretty.
Both of
You
us
said
called
it
that one.
earlier, and I was thinking the same. Yeah, I was like at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, this is Wolfgar that's in prison, and then
Yeah,
it's like, oh no, it's Zach Napkin,
Zachnafine.
Zach Nafine,
Yeah,
Zach Nafine.
I like
See
that.
again, he
Zach
looks
napkin.
Zach Napkin, like a napkin. But yeah, see, it's nice because he's listened to the audiobook. So he knows like a lot of the pronunciations
I
and
know the
whatnot. And when
pronunciations. The guy who can't pronounce names is the one who knows how to pronounce all the names
yeah,
correctly.
yeah. And meanwhile, I just read them, so I'm like making up like the pronunciations in my head. Like this is how it has to be pronounced, right? Yeah, yeah. That's probably a good starting off point. How do you pronounce Dritz's name? Because there's
As
a lot of ways you can pronounce.
we will get to that in a moment. Real quick, I want to make a couple of announcements before we get too deep into it. um. So, oh really, Kitty? But that
Does the
would
cat
be a
want to make an
shame.
announcement?
So, there is this. There is stuff out of here. There is this Fund My Comic that I am very interested in and I want to succeed real bad. This is Print Your Comics on Newsprint by Peter Samedi. For those of you who don't know, Peter Samedi runs a independent in publisher called Alterna Comics, where he publishes a couple of people's books, including his own. He is starting up a small printer for newsprint comics, and I am heavily invested in this. They've raised $10,884 of their $15,000 goal. That's 73%. They got 19 days to go. So things are going very well. Very well. When I get around to it, All American Red Squirrel will be printed through this printer. I've already made multiple donations myself because we get vouchers. One of the campaign goals. So if you want to help the Dr. Crow's Carnival Productions in the future, consider picking up or donating to this FundMe. Go to this Fund My Comic. They got some t-shirts. You can get some sketch cards. 14 of 30 are left still. So if you want a character, a little piece of original art made by a professional artist, this is where you want to go. Or if you're interested in printing your own books, they got vouchers which will go back to paying off your print run. So if you donate $200, you'll get $200 off your print run when you're ready to print your books. I am very excited for this, and I want it to succeed, and he's done very well so far. So consider giving your support at fundmycomics.com/newsprint. And with that out of the way, thank you all for listening to my little spiel. We'll be updating you when I have some comics more coming up. I just started a new series on Twitter called Sally Starcross. So it's only one issue right now. Another little webcomic weekly update. So thank you all for your support. And now we'll get back to the drits.
Or is it Drizit?
Drizit. The Drizit. They make fun of that in the book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which
is great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one little kid goes, "It's a Drizit. It's a Drizit," because he doesn't know what a drow is.
Oh yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't know what drowse is, and yeah, he's trying to say what is how to pronounce his name and whatnot, which is I probably at the time that's probably one of the questions he gets at. The author R.A. Salvatore probably gets asked a lot is how do you pronounce Dritz? And there's a few pronunciations, but I think Dritz is the one that's the most common.
It is.
I think. It is okay.
Drizzt is how they pronounce it in the book. I think that's how R.A. Salvatore pronounced himself.
Dritz?
Dritz, yeah. Dritz
okay.
Dualden. Dritz got the Riz.
See, that's not how they pronounce the last name, though. That's I always say. See, that's what I say again. I could hear actually all the names that are supposed to pronounce because I always say Do'Urden.
I'm curious. How do you pronounce the city? Big drow city.
Was it Menzoberranzan?
Menzoberranzan.
Menzoberranzan.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I don't know. It's made up.
Yeah, very complicated names, but yeah,
it is. They follow the fantasy trope that you got to have at least 7 or 6 X's and Z's in there, just spread about, sprinkled like chocolate chips on a muffin. Just.
Well, we don't have enough Z's in our vocabulary words, so you gotta spice it up a little bit.
Yeah,
make it distinct.
So let's take it down. Let's take it break down book by book. I think so that way we can kind of like
Yeah, we got to give a little bit of a synopsis as well. I think for the audience. Thankfully, I got the 40th anniversary editions, which is kind of nice, where it blocks up each of the books. Like book 1 of the 25th anniversary. Sorry, the 25th anniversary. It's book 1 which is Homeland, Exile, and Surgeon. And then book 2 is Crystal Shard, Streams of Silver, and Halfling's Gem. And then book 3 was The Legacy, Starless Night, Siege of Darkness, and then Passage to Dawn. And I think that was a good way to break them up because each at least these ones they go into each other. Like technically speaking, if you just read the first 3, you could end it with Surgeon, with how
Yeah.
Dritz finds his home and whatnot at the end. The Halfling's Gem, uh, everything
Yeah,
mythical halls
everything kind of
reclaim.
breaks up into like parts of 3. I think except for the last like 4 are all like one
Yeah,
series of
yeah,
themselves.
yeah. Book 3 it has 4 of the books: The Legacy, Starless Night, Siege of Darkness, and Passage to Dawn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right,
let's start with Homeland.
so Homeland. Let's see what the summary. Hoping that the summary had a thing, but it's the stunning new release of the classic R.A. Salvador novel. Like,
Oh, I got one. So at least the back of the book, it says, "Still an infant, his mother held a dagger to his heart. Just a boy, he was initiated in subterranean world of violence and evil. Finally, Dritz, just say this last name again for me.
Dualden.
Duarden escaped his
Duerden.
dark legacy.
I don't.
Duarden adventures into the wild Underdark in search of his destiny." So I liked Homeland is interesting. So the synopsis, it starts off pretty much like if you've seen it or read the Dune books, it's like House Harkonnen just took out another house. Though there is no like good house in this. I like how you described it, Crow. The Drow are like evil with a capital E.
Yeah.
They are just evil, and it's so much fun to see their politics and their shenanigans as they wiped out this and as the Dwardens, this House Dwarden takes out a lesser. Oh no, the house above them. So, oh goodness, should we even talk about the system? Where do we start with this? So yeah, but they take out this other house to make their family name much more prestigious, so that way they can work their way up the power ladder,
Yep.
so to speak. During this uh, attack, Malice, the matriarchal leader, Malice, is giving birth
You know, it's a
to.
villain. Her name is Malice.
Oh yeah, that's another. A lot of their names are pretty fun. I mean, you get Malice. Oh goodness, I'm already. What's oh, goodness gracious. So, okay, just like a kind of on the quick synopsis still, just for Homeland, because some of these are going to get simple, some of them are going to get even more complicated. But yeah, so you get as while giving
I
birth,
kind of dig the
there's that.
naming convention because it feels very much like a dungeon master. Like they come up with a cool
Yes.
name and then this NPC doesn't need special. His name is Massage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Real quick, Tapin Sar Asset. I just finished Shar. Are we going to see more underground comics now with Dark Elves? I somebody read a Shar. I'm so excited by that. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for reading. I very much appreciate you reading, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I am working on a lot of different comic projects right now. I'm still trying to find that thing that, might actually appeal to a lot of people. I definitely want to write more Ashar. I definitely we'll see how the All American Red Squirrel stuff goes. And if that does well, maybe I'll do Ashard as my second project. And my third and my fourth and my fifth. And I got like 8 ideas I want to do and no money to do it with. So I definitely will write another fantasy comic in the future as soon as I can afford to pay for the artist. Don't give me more writing ideas. Be quiet, Pixie. Go back to the kitchen.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, she's mad at me. She's in the living room yelling at me right now. You probably can't hear it. I have lots of spiders. I like using spiders. I like using snakes, which is hilarious because Johnny, who did the art for Char, is afraid of snakes. Apparently, I didn't know that when writing that. Uh, Thank you. Definitely subscribe and stuff so that way you can keep in touch. And keep an eye on this. I'll definitely do like more reveal stuff when I can get to my own comics. Right now, just kind of like in that lull of needing money to do it. So. Sorry to interrupt. Let's get back to.
Oh no, you're good. Well, thinking of names, I decided to pull up all their names. So yeah. So during this fight, Malice gives birth to Dritz, who they were supposed to sacrifice, but because you're only supposed to have two sons,
Yep.
no more than that. It's a matriarchal system, and you're only limited amount of males in your household. You can have as many females as you want, but limited amount of males. You sacrifice this third son to Loth, the
Loth.
dreaded Spider Queen.
The demon queen of spiders.
Yes, who will make an appearance later on in the series, but for now she's just mentioned, and her favor is very important to have in order to have the powers and the blessings she bestows upon the house.
Yeah.
And they were going to sacrifice that son to Loth. However, Dinan during the fighting kills his eldest brother, so that way he becomes the eldest child.
He becomes first boy. Yeah.
Yep, to get more power, and because of that, they do not sacrifice Dritz.
Yeah, they do not sacrifice Dritz because Loth takes him as the sacrifice because he killed him. They killed him right after they completed the rites right before the actual sacrifice. So that's the only thing that saves Dritz's life.
Yep. And to go through the family members, because it might be a good idea to do that. You get the head of the family, Matron Malice. Who's like the mother.
Bitch.
Yes. Good way to. And then another one, the eldest and most cruel daughter, Breeza.
Breeza is a freaking psycho. Gosh, I really liked Breeza as a villain. I think she was my favorite of the villain in the first sets of books.
Of the ones, it's Breeza and Dinan was my favorite. Dinan is an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
Shame what happened to him, but you know.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah. And then who's those two daughters?
Oh, there's a
middle
middle girl who does nothing.
Well, hold on. The second one is Virna. She's the second eldest daughter.
Yeah, Virna is
second-born daughter.
Pointless. She provides nothing.
No, Virna's the one that's Zach is the father. Zach.
Oh, Virna's the good sister.
Yes,
Quote unquote good.
As close as you can be to good. She was, well, yeah. We'll get to that later as well. And then you get the youngest one that you're talking about, Maya. She's the one that just does nothing.
Yeah, Maya provides nothing to the conversation. She's just kind of there, and it's a shame.
Yeah, she's there to. She's more there to be like a representative of like the common drow, I think, because Breeze is like is kind of common in terms of what the drow are like, but to like the nth degree, because she's much more cruel than a lot of other ones.
Yeah, Breeza is like, she's completely bought in. She's completely drink the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Yeah. She is definitely like, Malice is bad, but if Breeza succeeds her, things are going to get way worse. That's the idea with that.
Mm-hmm. And then for the male stuff, there is Risen, who is the current like consort. I wouldn't say husband, consort of Malice. She has many to produce heirs and things like that, or just have lovers. And Risen is just the one in a long line of.
Yeah, I kind of liked him. He had a good line in there. I can't remember what it was, but he's talking to Zach Nafane, who is that's Drizz's father. That's Drizz's father. He's also the weapon master and like the best male fighter in all of the Minzo Branson.
Yeah, Zach Nafane, not Risen.
Yeah, Zach Nafane. And Risen is talking to Zach Nafane, and Risen's basically like, oh, yeah, you're only alive because you're such a good fighter, and that makes you useful. I am the current consort. And Zach Nafane pretty much goes to him and is like, yeah, and once she's tired of you, that's it for you. What else do you have?
Yeah, which is he does. It's funny because he's the current consort, but Malice is still boinking like Zach. That just it puts him in a very precarious position, especially since uh Frieza is his daughter, but does not care. Virna is Zach's daughter. Drizzt is Zach's son.
Yeah.
The other son, Nailfin, he dies in in the prologue. I don't think he makes it the first chapter.
He doesn't.
He's dead.
I think he has like one line of dialogue.
Yeah, he's their wizard too. He's like their wizard, and he gets whacked. So that does hurt them a bit. And then you get Maya, who is also a daughter of Risen, but again, like I said, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
And Dinin has his own plans going on. So it's interesting where he's always in a very precarious position because he has no power, yet he's up there in terms of supposed to. So he can get replaced quite easily.
Yep.
And he doesn't say much. He chooses everything he does very, very carefully. He's very kind of like a beggar. Not a beggar, but like what's the word? Like very submissive.
Fop. He's a simp. I wouldn't call him a simp. He's in a very bad situation because he's in the lap of luxury, but he's more of a lap dog. Because because the Drow are matriarchal, and once, like I said, once Malice tires of him, he's going to be sacrificed. That's pretty much what his life is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't play your cards, I like in the visual dictionary the big portrait they have of the family, all the families together except for Risen, who's just like clearly spaced apart in the corner away from everyone, which is great. Legit, he's just in the corner with looks like a goblet drinking something, probably wine or something. But it's just funny where he's just off by the corner away from everyone else. Even like Dinin's closer. Not too close, but a bit closer to the family. Drizzt is not even in the portrait or whatever this is.
Yeah.
But it is just funny.
Yeah.
But so they win this battle against the DeVeers. House DeVere, I believe
House
is their name.
DeVere, who is house number 8?
8. Yep, they were 8 because this system that Loth has created in the Drow, this main Drow city, Menzo
Branson.
Menzo Branson. It's
so
each house has
So there's some 60 something houses in Menzo Branson, but really the only top 8 are the ones with the powers. Get it, spiders, 8 legs, haha.
Yep, and the whole, but there's a council table for the houses, and Malice's goal is to eventually be on that council, be the head house.
Yeah. That's the goal of every matron mother, is basically to get to house number 1.
Yep. Well, yeah.
And we'll talk about house number 1 eventually, because oh boy,
house number 1 is house number 1, Bernary.
Bernary.
It really, realistically, you're trying to go for house number 2. You ain't going for house.
You ain't going for house number 1. Even when Malice, they defeat the what is the name of the house? Again, the house that's taken out.
The first one, DeVere?
DeVere, yeah. So in order to advance your house, you have to completely eliminate the house that you're trying to eliminate. That means complete genocide of the noble line.
Even killing the children, which Zach does not take part in.
Zach, he only takes part in killing the priestesses, the matron mother and her daughters of DeVere. So that has to be done. They kill most of the soldiers, except for those that turn coat and like surrender. And I think they take half the slaves as well because
Yeah,
it's basically like a raid at that point.
yeah. Like you have to be. It's one of those in Drow society. It's one of those like everyone knows what you did, but no one can be alive to actually accuse you of doing it. Because if someone lives or your house fails and you get accused, then in turn your house gets wiped out for your failure because you failed to abide by that. Which you see an example of that when Dritz is a kid. He watches as this house that failed to take out another is wiped out by everyone else because of their failure.
Yep.
So
So
law does not tolerate failures, does not tolerate fools.
So, because this is it also plays into the whole D&D alignment system. Because Loth is chaotic evil, her people are chaotic evil. So they're not a city of laws. Pretty much their law is he said she said she said. So
Yeah. Well, it's all about secrets. I mean, spiders and webs of intrigue and
the
plots,
tangled
plans
webs we
within plans.
weave.
Yes. And it feeds right into just the imagery, the city itself is like I mean, it's an Underdark city, so
Yeah.
they have these infrared eyes that can see everything, and all the lights are colors from the whole fairy fire and whatnot.
Fairy fire, which is blue and purple, and they have thermal vision, which I really
Mhm.
miss in later editions of D&D. That was something that was really cool in like second edition, first
Yeah,
edition.
yeah. That's another thing to point out as well. These books were written in
I think the first
the
one's
second
89.
yeah, so like the second edition era to the third edition. So if you go back to read these books and you only know fifth edition, you're gonna be in for a couple like, whoa, man, that seems strange. Like, yeah,
Spells
things
don't work like that.
like
They
mind
used to.
yeah, they used to work like that. Mind flayers used to be a little bit different. I think now they abhor magic, but then
Yeah.
they kind of found it fascinating.
Yeah,
Um,
they found it fascinating, and they technically used magic because psionics weren't really a thing at that point. But they kind of were. It's kind of strange. Like, so that was a whole lot of fun. So they take out House Devere, except for one.
yeah, Alton.
Alton
He,
Devere.
he,
He is
he
a
is a mage.
student in what is the Sorcerer?
The academy. Yeah,
Yeah, in the
yeah, the
Academy
academy.
Sorcerer.
Yep.
Which basically the only thing that male drow have going for them is that they're the only ones who can learn arcane magic. They're the
Are they?
only ones who are
I thought-
allowed to learn it because arcane magic is viewed as lesser to
Oh,
divine magic. Only the women are allowed
yeah.
to be priestesses. Only the men are allowed to be mages. And the
Mhm.
archmage of Minzo Branson, Grump, Ghorm, Grump.
Yeah, he's like the head one, but he's very secretive
He's
and
very secretive,
uh,
very which is pretty much true for all drow. Very paranoid, but he's basically his big station is that he's an overglorified clock keeper. He gets to set the clock in the whole town, which is just basically a giant heat sink in the center of town.
yeah, but he doesn't particularly he has like allies in the academy, but at least in the first book, it seems like he's not mentioned at all. So
He is mentioned
and
in the
as the
first
later
book, but
book,
he's never seen.
he's never seen. Okay,
Yeah, he's
I couldn't
mentioned by
remember him.
name, pretty much just to say that it's his job to make sure Minzo Branson's on the correct time scale. And
Yep, because
then
there
other
is
than that,
no
he's not
sun.
important. The mages that
Yeah,
are important in this one, there are three mages who are important. There is Devere, who's the Devere again? I've forgotten.
Alton
Alton
Devere, he's the
Devere.
one that lived, and then you get
Massage.
Massage. Oh, I
It's
got the book. Let me
massage.
look.
It's legitimately just massage. Whatever his last name was.
Yeah, because we're probably going to want to know his last name
Harkin?
as well.
No, not Harkin. Harkin's later.
Harkonnens. Yeah, Where is?
I'm
I'm just
spacing
trying to
on
find.
it. This is the problem if I read the book once.
Yeah, that's why you
There's
gotta
a
read it multiple
lot of
times.
characters in all these
Yeah,
books.
it is Masoj is how he spells his name. Masoj.
Massage. Such a
Masoj.
dumb name. Um, and then his master, the Faceless One, who is this drow wizard who had his face burned off by acid. So Dindon goes to the Faceless One to pay him to slay
Alton.
Alton because they need to have the completely house wiped out. Alton survives the complication because Massage kills the Faceless One.
Yeah. And then he was, and then so yeah, so and
And
essentially in this big fight happens. Massage is an apprentice to the Faceless One, like the like the janitor, and this
he's the
fight breaks
intern.
out. Yeah, it's pretty much. And this fight breaks out, and Massage takes the advantage to kill the Faceless One out of revenge, and because that's the Drow way of assassinations and things like that. And he was going to kill Alton as well, because as he points out, it's like, yeah, what have you to live for, Alton Devere of no house worth mentioning, is the line.
Yeah.
House of no one, house worth, because the house has been wiped out, aside from Alton. And Alton makes a bargain with Massage that he will give him better treatment and help him out and be an ally and asset for House Nut.
Yeah, because Alton actually knows magic unlike Massage, and he can teach Massage like what the Faceless One is denying him.
But in order to carry out the disguise, because he's going to take, essentially Alton's going to take the place of the Faceless One. He has to pour some acid on his face.
Gotta pour some acid on that face.
Acid is the line.
And I love that, like, there's some back and forth between Massage because they have a couple of chapters to themselves where Alton is trying to figure out who actually slayed his family. He summons a Yukla.
Yes, because it's so secretive. Like, it's one of those, everyone knows it, but they don't say it because that's saying out loud. You're not supposed to do that, especially if it's a well done operation. And because they're in this tower, the sorcery tower, a lot of secrets are kept away from their eyes, especially since the Faceless One is very like secluded. He always lives in isolation, so that's kind of why they're able to get away with this
for as long as they do. They do get found out because Massage. The reason Massage wasn't getting trained right is because the Faceless One is his older brother, and the Faceless One didn't want a rival.
Yes, that is the reveal. At the point where where the House Hunnut's matron, the mother, comes in, and the Alton is trying to pretend to be the Faceless One, and it's already blown away because she knows that that's not her son, and that's why Massage killed the Faceless One, because it's his older brother, and the older brother's not going to teach him to do magic, because if he did, then that's a rival.
That's a rival.
Can't have that.
But Alton doesn't care as much about it, and they both, all of them kind of come together as like, Alton could be useful to us, because House Hannett, I think this is that house, right?
Yep.
They're basically, if they're house number 8, I believe.
They're a house. They're the
no, they're house number
they
5.
Yeah, they are above the house.
Way above Duardin. But they don't want Duardin getting up into house number 8 because they're one step away from that, and they want them off that table. Because it's highly likely that if they were to go to war, they would go to war with them. House number 5 and house number 9 are the ones most likely to go to war to get house number 9 up to 8. Because take out 5, every house between 5 and 8 goes up 1. So.
Yep, and they're in a there's not as strong. Everyone knows that Duardin is a up and coming powerful house because of, as you mentioned, Zach. Because he's the.
And now, especially because Dritz is also proving to be a masterful swordsman as well.
Yeah. So
they have 3 really decent melee fighters in their house. Because the oldest brother, Dinan, he's not a pushover.
No, he can fight. He was pretty good too. But yeah, Dritz and Zach are just top tier. Like even everyone recognizes Zack as like the greatest. His only rival was someone in House Binary.
Hasmonary, yep. And then like the closest rival to him from that was like half demon. So
Yeah, yeah, and
we'll talk about him when he
even
shows
Drax.
up because I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, that character disappointed me.
Oh, what remind me, half demon.
That was like you
Oh, with the guy with the trident and everything like
yeah,
that.
the trident in the net.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't even fight any of the main characters.
he goes out in a really cool way. Like he does fight one of the main secondary characters, but the fight itself is cool, but the character buildup is not.
Yeah, the secondary. It's a secondary. You're fighting against like the secondary characters who are like not even close to being made. It's just funny, but yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the Siege of Darkness. But yeah. But and even Draxel recognizes Zack as like his prowess essentially, and it's not revealed in any of these books, but I think in the future it was revealed friends, but Draxel betrayed Zack and felt guilty about it. Hence, probably the reason why his interactions with Dritz.
We'll get to Draxel when he shows up.
Oh, Draxel's second book, yeah, Draxel's second book, but that's just some background.
Draxel's second book and every other book after that.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah.
So there's one other thing about Massage we gotta talk about. Because Massage gets something off the body of the Faceless One.
Yes.
Like the second most important character in all these books, he gets off that body. He gets Guinevere, the magical panther.
Yep, he gets a little item, like a little figurine.
It's
carved
an onyx figurine.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, once every other day, that figurine can summon a panther from the astral plane, like an actual magical 600-pound panther. That is a massive panther. What do you mean it's a little bit below average? She's trying to argue with me over there. So,
but
yeah. So Guinevere, very important character to the Dritz novels. All of it.
Oh yeah, it'll be Dritz's like best companion, essentially, his lifelong companion, because
600 pounds of cuddles.
Yeah, well, because technically, as long as the figure is not destroyed, Guinevere will outlive Dritz.
Yeah.
Even though Dritz will live for 750 years, is the life expectancy of elves in D&D. It's still, as long as that figurine remains, Guinevere will outlive. It's the only one.
Yeah, because Guinevere is a representation of cats in general. I think like that's the idea. Like she is a constellation brought to life.
Okay.
Something like that, because she's part of the astral plane. She's not a mortal.
Yeah.
She's basically like a demigod.
A little bit, yeah, but she's when Guinevere is in the astral plane, Guinevere's on this endless hunt with a deer, I believe.
With the deer, yeah.
And that is what they do during the astral plane, which is revealed.
That's what she's doing when she's not healing, because Guinevere gets fucked up a lot.
Oh yeah, Guinevere takes some damage. Guinevere is.
Dritz goes through melee. God,
yeah,
I can't remember what the first part of the name is. They call it the academy, but each of the 3 schools have like a different name.
Yeah,
Melee Magvir. That's what the name of the melee school is. Is Melee Magvir, Melee Divine, Magvir Divine, and then Magvir Sorcerer. I think it's something like that.
Okay.
It essentially translates to School of Fighting, School of Magic, School of Worship, something like that in Elvish.
Yeah, and after some testing, Dritz is taken to the School of Fighting, because at first they wanted Dritz to be
They wanted him to be a wizard because the Wardens lacking a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just too
But
good at
Zach,
fighting.
yeah, Zach does a little trick with the coins. It's like he keeps placing a coin on top of his hand and asks him like to catch it.
It's like an absurd
And
number. I think it's like 12 coins he's able to get up to.
yeah, 10, yeah, 10 or something. He gets to 10 and just keeps able to catch them all as they're falling. And it impresses everyone. It's like, okay, yeah, he's too good. He's too good.
Yeah, so Zach
And
Nafane gives him the basics. They send him off to school. And I really love the tournament that the school puts them all in immediately. Here's a giant maze. Everybody grab your practice staves that best represent your weapon of choice. Last one out wins.
Mhm. And yeah, and Dritz does very well, but he is betrayed by a partner he befriends, and it's his first lesson of yeah, don't trust the Drow. You can't trust any of them.
He loses because he's naive. He would have won because he
Yep.
wins
Well, he wins
every other
yeah,
year after that.
yeah, he wins the next one. He learns a valuable lesson, which Zach did not teach him. It's important as well to set that up that Zach teaches Dritz a lot of stuff before he goes to the academy. More not just about like weapons training, but also just like personality. Because obviously Dritz is not like the other Drow. He has a good heart, and that does not last in this world. It usually gets corrupted and twisted and everything like that. And Zach has this dilemma of, I think at one point he contemplates just killing Dritz before he goes to the academy, so that
Yeah,
way he would die.
because he
Sure.
doesn't believe he's going to survive the academy. In the academy, it is brutal.
Oh yeah, it's yes. Well, he believes he'll survive, but not in terms of his heart will not survive.
The things that are important will not survive.
Mhm. But yeah, he goes to the academy, he's kicking butt, but he does remain, unbeknownst to pretty much everyone, he remains like he keeps his heart, he keeps his ideals.
Yeah.
Despite everything being taught, he wrestles with that a lot, especially in this one, and that will get confronted a
Because
whole
he's
bunch as
constantly
well.
wondering if, am I actually doing the right thing? Like, are my ideas actually proper? Are they actually good?
Yeah, because everyone else around him is telling him otherwise, especially when they graduate.
Oh my
And
god, that graduation.
well, you gotta. That's how you corrupt them. You snuff out any of those Drow, because there's probably some that do question it, but that's how you snuff it out is through. So the graduation ceremony is through an orgy. The high priestess.
They summon a Glabrazoo. It's like-
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
Uh,
I don't think she was willing. That's the implication.
not.
No.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't. Yeah, it's very icky, but that's how you make them these Drow tainted. You make them. You do this. You do something like this, but Dritz does not participate. Much to was it Vin? I think it was the second sister, right? It was
It's the one that
Virna
raised him. Because during like the first 10 years of
Yep.
his life, he's basically raised by the middle sister.
Yeah, which is Virna, which is Zach's daughter, who
Yeah.
is also kind of. She for a while it sounded like she was kind of teetering on edge between good and bad, but she leans more into.
She falls.
She drinks the Kool-Aid eventually. Yeah, she
Drinks the
falls and she falls hard.
It's a real it's actually really sad.
It is. Yeah, there
She-
is a tragedy in that.
She tries to do the merciful thing with Driz and feed him to Driders.
Yep. The moment she realizes he's not participating in the orgy, she's like, "Oh, something's wrong with him. Let's feed him to the Driders." And Malice thankfully intervenes and's like, "What are you doing? You're doing this without my say so. He is too much of a good fighter." And by doing that though, it reveals a lot more to like, oh, Loth is evil, isn't she?
Oh yeah, Love
Because
is
the whole
evil,
Drider-
evil.
You want to explain what Driders are for those that don't know as well?
So Driders in Dungeons and Dragons. In real life mythologies, Driders come from Greek mythology. They are I think there's one Drider specifically. I can't remember what her name was, but she beat I think it was Athena in a weaving contest, so they turned her into a half spider. So Driders in D&D, they are Drow that have displeased Loth and are turned into grotesque half spiders. upper body of a drow, lower body of a spider. And they are basically just turned into monsters, mindless killing machines in consistent pain and displeasure.
And only one that is blessed fully, that has Loth's approval and blessing, can turn someone into a Drider. If you don't have that, then you can't do it.
Arachne. That's what everybody. Yeah, Arachne. Get this.
Yep.
Does Arachnid. That's where we get the word. Yeah,
I
drow
didn't think of that.
centaur spiders. This is exactly what they are. And they're basically mindless, especially in these early editions. They're not people anymore.
No, I mean the artwork for one of the Driders is brutal because it is, like I said, the half body of the drow and the face. It has like the pincers in its mouth that protrudes out, and there's no pupils. It's just blank eyes. It looks awful. Because drow, they all have red eyes except for Dritz. He has purple eyes.
He has purple eyes,
lavender eyes.
which is the number of things Dritz gets throughout the book. So he gets Guinevere eventually. He gets like magical swords. He gets magical boots of bullshit. He's got the purple eyes. He's really handsome. He's pretty much good at everything he does. This is why people call him a Mary Sue. But Dritz's challenges very rarely are physical. It's a lot of emotional challenges that he has to go through.
Yeah, emotional and decision making, because he's smart, but he gets defeated a lot in fights. He gets captured. He gets bested. It's not like, that's why I can't say he's a Mary Sue, because he has a lot of things he has to overcome and defeat.
I would not say Dritz is a Mary Sue. I personally do not think he's a Mary Sue. I see the argument. My response is he's not a Mary Sue. He's a player character.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. He's a player character. So, yeah, his moments of like stupid luck, that's just because the player rolled well. Like that's really what it is.
Rolled really well. Yeah, but he does. I mean, he has to learn a lot too, because he gets a couple good mentors. We mentioned Zach, who is obviously the father figure, but he gets another one later on.
Yeah,
that is that he doesn't get mentioned. He gets mentioned like once or twice later on, but not a whole lot, not as much as he probably should.
Yeah. So,
but part of that's probably the books. These three first books are like prequel books that were written after Crystal. That were written after Crystal Shard and the other two subsequent ones.
Yeah, so this is technically the prequel series was written second. Stop me if you heard this one before Star Wars. Star Wars, I really want to bring this up real quick. R.A. Salvador, before he wrote this, he's noted for writing a trilogy for Star Wars. He is the writer who had to introduce the Yusang Vong into the Star Wars universe.
Yep, the Yakuza Vaughn.
And it wasn't his choice to do this. This was the editor who pretty much decided this. He's got to be the writer who kills Chewbacca. Spoiler warning to these like 30-year-old books.
Yeah, that are now not even canonical.
Not even canonical. And you know what? I wouldn't say he's the blame for the numbers. He's just the guy who had to write it. Because it's definitely a lot of the editor interference there.
I don't, from a concept standpoint, I don't mind the Vaughn. I kind of like it. It makes it's interesting. Maybe need to play into it, but that's a whole other discussion for another day.
Yeah, that's another discussion. We'll definitely talk about. I really do want to talk about the Thrawn trilogy at some point.
Oh, actually, I do plan on rereading it. I think
excellent. Maybe that will be one of our things we do at some point.
Yeah.
I gotta focus. No ADHD.
That's right. That's right. Because so he almost gets fed to Driders, but then Malice saves him, and then he gets back to essentially their complex where they live. And Zach refuses to meet Dritz, both fearing what he's become and worried as well. And Dritz doesn't want to see Zach either, because he blames
Zach is the exact same way. Yeah.
Yeah, because Zach's like, what horrors did you do? Did you participate in a lot of these like atrocities, like killing children and whatnot?
I think Dritz even knows at this point that Zach Nafane likes to kill the priestess of Loth.
Yes, he revels in that, but doesn't know why. And
So
that's the big thing.
so after this, Dritz gets to go to the second part of his training, which is the joining the patrol parties in the outer tunnels. And I think this happens after the orgy, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Yeah, so he gets paired up in this patrol group, this specific patrol group with Dinan
Shut up
and
back
Wizard.
there. She's laughing at me.
Yeah. But yeah, he gets in this patrol group with Dinan and
Massage, and this is where he meets Guinevere. Yep.
Yep, because Massage at that point is figure out what Guinevere is, and Massage is also there particularly to keep an eye on Dritz and the family of
Walden. Yep.
Dwalden. I'm gonna keep forgetting that. Thank goodness you're here to remind me.
Yeah, so this is where Guinevere shows just how badly she gets beat up a lot. They fight quite a few things. They fight Scrags, which are aqua trolls. They fight some hook horrors that kidnapped a child, a drow princess, and it was all a setup test to see how the students reacted. I think even one of the students died during this thing, and they failed to save the child, but it's just a common child, so nobody cared except for Drizzt.
Say that again. Cut out there for a second.
It was the drow princess that they had to save, the little child.
Oh, that was during their training. Yeah, that was during their training camp. Where when they go try and save the child, and it turns out there was not a princess; it was just some common drow,
and nobody cared except for Drizzt, who's like, "This is wrong. Like, why did we do this?"
Yep.
There's also a moment during all this training we also have to mention because this character is important. They run into some Snaren Feblin.
Yeah, that was after the train. That was during when they're actually doing the patrols. They meet the dark gnomes, essentially.
The deep gnomes, yeah. Who is being led by a burrow warden named Balrog Dysenthrope.
Oh, Belvar.
Talk about the basest character. This guy's awesome. I love him.
He's great. He's
great. Like, mine vein of precious gemstones real close to drow territory. Sign me up. Like, apparently he, like the book says, he had to crawl over the competition to get to that. It's like,
yes, and and then what's their Brighton? I can't think. The Brighton Dome, is that their capital?
Glimmerstone. Yeah,
Glimmerstone. That's what it is. Glimmerstone.
Yeah. So he leads his party patrol of miners there. Minor.
OR.
OR. No, not the wrong. I misspelled it. Damn it. MINNER.
This would be a different story. All right, kids, we're taking you on a field trip.
We're taking you on a field trip. Who's ready to see the evilest things in the Underdark has to provide?
That's right.
So he leads them there. They get ambushed by the drow that Drizzt is leading. Drizzt doesn't know that the deep gnomes are actually good, so he's just like slaying them left and right. They summon an earth elemental to fight him, and he slays that. That's actually impressive.
Even Massage is impressed because Massage also tries to kill Drizzt during this, but
he shoots him with a lightning bolt
and fails. Or tries to, because Guinevere kind of, I think if I remember correctly, Guinevere kind of takes some of that damage as well.
Yeah. Guinevere kind of like shoves Drizzt out of the way, so it hits both Guinevere and the Earth Elemental instead.
I could be misremembering it. Like I said, it's something
like that. Guinevere gets dragged into the ground. Like, and Massage does as well by the Earth Elemental, and then Drizzt goes to save Guinevere. Pulls Guinevere right out of Massage's pocket. Like,
yeah, Massage he treats Guinevere very harshly, and so they beat the gnomes. A lot of them are escaped, but they did capture Belwar.
Yeah,
and Drizzt, in his kind of cleverness, makes a show of it and convinces Dinan to let him go to tell the
Yep.
the other
The
gnomes
horrors
about
of the
what
drow
they
don't come over here again, sort of
did.
thing.
Mm-hmm. And
Dinin kind of
Dinin,
agrees. Let's cut off
with
his
an exception.
hands.
Yeah, with an exception. You should not have hands though. And, yeah.
Pretty
And
much,
Belwar.
it is a death sentence for anybody not to have hands in the Underdark, because
Mm-hmm.
like that means no wielding weapons, no wielding climbing equipment, no being able to feel around or eat. And Belrog, he takes it like a champ. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't cry, he doesn't scream. He just kind of like glares at Dindin and he's like, "I fucking hate you. I hope you die."
But he takes specific note though of Dritz because he figures out what Dritz is doing for him. He's saving his life. He knows what Dritz is doing, and he takes very good note of that. But Massage is upset about his failed assassination attempt, and kind of notices as well that Dritz is a little bit squeamish about all this, and so he has Guinevere go and kill the rest of the escaped gnomes from their patrol party,
Yeah.
and brings them back, their bodies back one at a time.
Yeah.
Much to the dismay of both Guinevere and Dritz. And Guinevere can't. He is beholden to the idol. Whatever the whoever holds the figurine commands him, Guinevere has to obey.
Yeah.
And so Guinevere has no choice.
After that I think it's the raid to the surface.
I think so. I can't. The raid to the surface might have happened first, but
No, the raid to the
'cause,
surface
yeah.
definitely happened second.
Are you
Because this
are
is
you sure? 'Cause I thought-
it has to, because the raid to the surface is what really sets it in for Driz that all of this is wrong. Like this
yeah.
is what sells it to him, is that they raid to the surface to go kill surface elves, because part of the training is that all the surface elves, they're the ones who put us down here. They're the ones who banished us. They're the ones who blame like some sort of sickness on us. It's all of their faults. It's really Lost's fault and theirs, but
yeah. But that's not the tale they've been told. They believe this tale, and they go up there, and yeah, they essentially massacre this elf like party that was having this ceremony,
yeah,
and everyone's slain but a child, which Dritz
managed
spares.
to spare, yeah, by faking her
Yeah,
death.
he managed. Yep, but it looks to Dinin, it looks like Dritz just killed a kid, and Dinin is very happy and applauds Dritz about it and everything like that. And then as they're leaving, the guy that was leading them up to the patrol is like, "You must see the sunrise and know what it is we have escaped from, the pain." And everyone is recoiling and afraid of the sun, except for Dritz, who remains and is like warmed by it. He likes it.
Yeah, he likes it. He's like, it is scary, but there's a warmth to it. And basically the priestess has to basically go, because the priestess is obviously trying to do this thing. Is like, I'm the one who's not afraid of the sunlight, and Driz is still standing there, and she's like, "Asshole, go!"
Come on now, it's time. Let's be gone.
Yeah.
But the priest is probably the one that also notices it, and probably is the one that let Loth know, like, "Hey, this Dritz guy,
Something's weird about this guy.
He ain't one of us." Yeah.
That boy ain't right.
But yeah, he comes back, and then he mentions they're all happy except, like, the whole family's happy except for Zach, who at the hearing of that he killed kids, he's like, "Okay, I gotta kill Dritz. He can't live." But then they also figure out from the failed assassination that it's their enemy is House not that
Devere.
that is probably
Somehow
no,
House
Devere, they
Devere
don't know
has
that. Yeah, they don't know that yet. They don't know that House Devere someone lived.
yeah.
So
So
they know House Nut though is like having their eye. They don't know to the extent, I think, but they're like, "Okay, keep our eyes out for House Nut." But
yeah,
the
so
war, another
they're starting
war,
to figure
another
out
fight
Loth is not happy with us, because Loth obviously knows the child wasn't killed. She's a goddess after all, so she's pissed at them. Zaknafine tries to kill Driz in a honorable one-on-one duel. And Driz is basically like, "Nah, I'm gonna have to kill my own dad because he's a monster." Because they both think each other's a monster at this point. And as they're talking, they managed to talk it out. Driz beats him, I believe, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They talk it out during the fight. Like yeah, Dritz beats them, and then
Just like real
yeah,
men do.
yeah, exactly. After a big fight, and then they figure it out, and Dritz is like super ecstatic that he's like finally found someone he can relate to in the Drow, and he's like, yeah, now that we know each other, we know each other's hearts, nothing can stop us, kind of thing. And then he's attacked by
He goes for a
Massage, and
walk. Dritz
yes, goes
leaves the
for
compound and goes for a walk.
yep, and that is during this time where they know House of Nuts looking for a way to like start picking them off in the war, and but while that's happening though, uh, he's he gets attacked by what's it called, the monster that
He gets
grabs you.
he gets attacked by a cave fisher.
Yes, and he can't save himself, but Massage has been following him. He doesn't know about the cave fisher, but orders Guinevere to go kill Dritz
Because
with Alton as well. Alton's there as well. He's been like readying up revenge. He's been asking, begging for a chance to start killing out this family, and he's finally given that chance with Massage.
yeah,
Um,
Alton has a wand of lightning bolts given to him, so like that's a nice magic item. So
yeah, you think?
you would think. So Guinevere goes to kill Driz, sees Driz fighting for his life against this cave fisher, manages to disobey her orders, save Driz, lead him back to Massage, and Driz is like, "Nah, I'm going to kill you. How dare you try to get Guinevere to do that?" Because at this point, Guinevere and Driz have already have their strong bond together.
Yeah, they've done a lot of patrols. They've formed a bond, and that is a bond that cannot be broken.
Yep. So Driz and Guinevere, they fight. Massage, Alton shows up, tries to kill them with the wand of lightning bolts, doesn't work because Guinevere, I think she bites it in half or it just breaks during the fighting.
Guinevere, because they don't know about Guinevere turning, so Guinevere attacks, surprises them all, and then they tumble, and then the wand breaks in half, and then blows up.
It basically was
Killing
like a
Alton.
nuke.
Yeah, it just kills Alton, and then
All
the
the,
Dritz kills.
that's another thing I'm having a trouble with this book because the build up for Alton to fight Driz is building up way high. Alton gets like one word, like one line of dialogue at Driz, and then dies to a different character.
Yeah, I feel like Alton and Massage should have been one character.
I would have just flipped it. Have Guinevere kill Massage because obviously Massage is the bad master for her.
Yeah.
That makes more sense, and then have Alton have the big fight with Driz. Because Massage almost kills Driz. Like,
that would have been better. That would have definitely been. It would have been more thematic.
Yeah, that would have been way more thematic. That's something I would have changed. I honestly, I would just have it kind of like leave Alton with the wand of lightning bolts. During the fighting, it gets tussled away from him. Massage picks it up. Guinevere does the whole thing. It blows up Massage, and then Alton's fighting Driz.
Problem is what happened is that this scenario, this whole thing was mentioned in one of the books he wrote first. I can't remember if it was Crystal Shard or the second, but this whole encounter, aside from Alton, was mentioned specifically, especially with Cave Fisher. So I think he kind of wrote himself in a little bit of corner because I don't know if R.A. Salvatore was planning on doing prequel books.
It doesn't seem like it because Driz is practically a different character in the original trilogy.
Well, a little bit. I mean, 10 years passed since the third book of Crystal Shard, and a lot would change. Now, it's not like he's a different character. He's just a little bit more like this whole the first three books. Yeah, he's figured out himself a lot more, especially with terms of killing. Because he was in these first three books, he does not want to kill like sentient beings
at all.
He's very stingy about that. But then eventually comes to terms with it by the time of Crystal Shard. Aside from Drow, he still has. After killing Massage, he makes a vow never to kill another Drow. He does not hold to that.
Yeah, so I love it. I love that the fight with Massage. It basically becomes that Driz outmuscles all his spells. Massage runs out of spell slots.
He really is, which is great.
He gets down to a dagger, and Massage is still like, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to win."
Gotta love the confidence, you know.
The fingers were broken.
Oh, yeah,
He
that's
has
great.
him
But
on
wow,
a
this whole
cliff, stomps on his hand, breaks like 3 of Drizz's fingers, and Obi-Wan jumps up and stabs him.
Mhm.
It's
Oh
great.
well, he does the Anakin jump, right? He did. I
Pretty
had the high ground. Apparently, that doesn't matter to Dritz.
now didn't matter to Obi-Wan in Phantom Menace either, so
Oh, that's there you go. There you go. But
yeah.
while this is all happening, the family's figured out what's happened, and they essentially are planning to kill Dritz. Planning, quote unquote. They know what Zach is going to offer, which he offers to be the sacrifice because they have to kill Dritz in order to get Loth's favor back, especially before this war breaks out.
Yeah.
And Zach essentially offers his life in order to keep Dritz alive. And the offer is taken, which is that was Malice's plan because she's evil and cunning like that. She wants Dritz, someone she thinks is more, since he's young, technically still like a teenager, a young adult
Yeah.
in
He's more spry.
elf years. Yeah, and more manual, like someone she thinks she can control easier. Does not play out the way she thought after the sacrifice, and when Dritz figures out that happened, he uses one of Zach's tricks that he taught him.
He had
Big,
basically their little glass beads filled with the sunlight spell.
hmm which again, in the Underdark, when your eyes are adjusted to seeing in the dark kind of thing, a big bright light is gonna it's gonna mess you up.
Yeah. That's why Zach Nifin was so good at killing priestesses. He just
Yep,
basically
and he
flashbanged
also
them.
and he loved doing it too, though, because he hated Loth, he hated it, um, and this is his way of being able to do it. And yeah, but yeah, so Dritz escapes, and a war breaks out between his family and the House Hanut. And Dritz is with Guinevere. He has the figurine, and he is out there in
In
the Underdark
in the
for
Underdark for
for
like 10 years.
yep, 10 years. 10 years he's alone in the Underdark, and that is Exile, the second book.
The second book. We're gonna have to pick this up.
I was
Luckily,
gonna say second book. Yeah, well,
Exile doesn't do a whole lot.
Exile essentially is a much shorter one because essentially Exile, 10 years this war has been happening, and the first House Benary, has to get involved. House Benary is run by matron Mother Yvonne, which
Yvonne.
is just which they just refer to as like matron Benary.
Yeah.
Um,
She is terrifying. Um,
Benary.
she is big
I mean,
bad villain energy. She really
oh,
is. And she
she
kind of
has
is for these original series. She's the big bad for the whole thing.
yeah, for most of the books, she is the villain. I mean, she has. It's weird where she's both been aged by certain things she does, but she's also just really old.
She
She
is
is
old
aged over
for an
8 years old.
elf. She's
Mhm.
3,000 years old.
Old for a drow elf too. That is impressive because yeah, you're
Yeah.
not supposed to live for that long, and as a drow elf, you're not. A long life expectancy is also a little
Yeah. You die young.
debatable. Yeah, and somehow, yeah, she's been able to withstand it, and she's tired of this conflict, this like secret,
The
like
secret
not
10-year
cold war.
war. She's like, this is
Yeah,
boring. Get on with it. Loth obviously wants Dualdrin on the seat, so hurry it up. And
yeah,
Yvain has a lot going for her. She's number one house, which means she's in command of the academy, all 3 schools of the academy. Her 2 boys are
She has
the
large family too. Her
large,
family is
massive
huge.
family. Both of her boys are the leaders of House Melee. No, her weapons master is the leader of House Melee. The school of Melee. Her oldest
And
son is the Archmage and the leader of Sorcerer, and her oldest daughter is the head priestess of the Priestess Academy.
and she has a particular ally with her.
A particular, very interesting ally. One, Jarlaxle Brigandierin.
Yes. Oh yeah, that one too. That one, yeah. Draxel is he is an ally when it suits him best, but his introduction in this. So you have to understand when reading these books, you're getting to start to hate these like they're awesome characters, but you're like, oh, these villains. I hope they get their comeuppance. And when
They're the
Draxler
villains
comes
you
in, he's like,
love to hate.
yeah, he's like a breath of fresh air because he's a different kind of like villain. He's a guy you root for in this because you're like, oh yeah, I hate all these guys. Yeah, and he doesn't care.
He's
Again,
in it for
this
the
is a matriarchal
money.
society. Yeah, well, this is a matriarchal society, and you get this this man like telling all these like priestess
Bitches.
and everything, just making fun of them,
He's
being
a
a troll.
scoundrel. He's a prick. I love it. Jarlaxle's probably one of my favorite novel characters to come out of the D&D stuff. So in these books, he has the eye patch, which does a lot of magical stuff. He's got the big hat with the big feather in it. He's wearing this vest that still exposes his midriff. And he's got the boots. He's got the big baggy pants. He wears a cape. And he is decked out in jewelry. Everything clicks and clatters until he tells it not to.
Yep, which is constantly happening because he wants them to. As you find out later, and like with the third book, when people start thinking more about Drax, like this guy, he has all these items that can turn off like sound, but what else can they do? Knowing Draxel, there's always a secondary magical thing some of these items can do, which they can. But his boots are fun because he'll make them click clack as much as he wants, and then
he does it on carpet. It's hilarious.
Yeah, on carpet, on like when he puts his feet on their desks, and they just have to live with it because they need him. He's like he has like a big mercenary group, which is very very effective, but he's also their only connection to the outside world.
Yeah.
To the and that's also very important. You want to have that as your ally, and he is very secretive, very cool, and you love him.
I love it. I'm so happy that you said my portrayal of him in the Pyrocross has been very spot on.
Oh, it is very spot on. Yeah. For those of you for a sponsorship, go watch the Pyrocross and see Dr. Crow play Draxel because it is very accurate.
He is there in game 1. He's the first person I introduced them to,
and he has honor too with the like how he treats ladies. He does not.
Yeah.
Compared again, the orgy. The Drow would take what they kind of want, if you know what I mean. But while Draxel is very much more, he has honor. He does not. He doesn't tolerate a lot.
Yeah.
For what it seems, as when he has Canterbury in prison, at least.
He's going to do what he needs to do to survive. He's an opportunist. That's how the book describes him the most.
Yeah.
Mercenary, opportunist. The opportunist Jarlaxle. He did not live this long and get to this position by being an idiot. He knows how to play ball. He knows when to back off. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he is usually like maybe not one, like 10 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
And so when he's and it's interesting when in the future he gets put against the wall. It's interesting to see how he's able to maneuver and yeah.
Because he only pulls out a weapon twice so far in these first 10 books. He pulls out a dagger and kills a kobold with it because the kobold is being a prick to him. And he pulls out a wand of lightning bolts with the intention of killing Dritz before that plan failed.
Yeah. Well, he had that. What did he say when he was fighting with Dritz? Because he had that line. I was like, because he did and didn't want to because he had to make it look believable. So if he failed or Virna lived, he had an excuse like, well, I tried, but he got away because that's what he said, because with broken leg, because he's a very complicated character, especially with like mentioning that how he deals with Dritz is also very interesting because he has that weird relationship with Zach, which hasn't been brought up in any of the books.
I don't know it yet.
Yeah, it's been alluded to a little bit. I've noticed hints, and then when I found out later, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But he also has an interesting relationship with Artemis, which that's not even the Dritzel. That's its own spin-off, which again, We'll talk about that later. We'll talk later.
So matron Mother Malice sends her two oldest. She sends Breeza and she sends Denon to go and get Dritz. Because Dritz has been spending 10 years alone in the Underdark wilderness. And he's starting to go a little mad from isolation.
Yeah, he's a little. He's the people he communicates with is Guinevere and then the mushrooms.
And then the mushroom people. He's communicating with Mike and Nids.
That's what it's Mike and Nids.
Yeah. In communication with the Mike and Nids is more as like, okay, you're not going to kill us. Good. See you later. That's pretty much what it is. Because the opening scene is him killing a basilisk. And he's being described as the hunter. This hunter personality. This is what I have to do to survive. Survival is the only thing. He's not living necessarily. He's just surviving, which is not a great state to be.
Especially when he is confronted by two family members who, he is very brutal in how he fights them. He strikes the fear of God into Denon, that's for one.
The fear of Loth into Denon. Denon immediately like folds in that fight. And then Breeze.
Yeah.
So the Priestess of Loth, one of the items they carry is these multi-headed snake whips. Driz gets bitten like 12 times by these snakes and beats her. Like he wins this fight with her before like her drow reinforcements manage to show back up.
No, it's Guinevere that stops him from delivering a killing blow. Because it's just them. Like they were hunting him, and then it turns out he's hunting. He turns the hunt on them because he is the hunter. He is very, very survivalist at the moment, and he almost delivers a killing blow, defeating his vow and kind of losing himself. And it's that encounter that pushes him to seek out actual people to talk to. Specifically, goes to the gnomes,
the deep
who is
gnomes.
like the closest.
Because before this bit, he's run into their mining parties before, and he's even breaking into Blingden Stone. I got it wrong. It is Blingden Stone.
Blingden Stone, okay.
Yeah. So he's broken into Blingden Stone, which was actually kind of funny because he just ran by everybody.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't break in. He goes up to the front door, and then they're like, "Oh, he found us." Okay,
well, that's when he comes back the second time. There's the first time before that where he followed the miners in.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And he snuck in via the mining carts.
Yeah, he scouts them before. He's not dumb. He doesn't want to go blind faith. People will accept. He's very smart about this. He goes in, scouts, and then makes the trek to go and talk. And there he meets when he gets like kind of arrested and interrogated. He brings up Belwar.
They did not like that he brought up Belwar. Because they're like, this is the drow that did this to Belwar. This is the drow who got his hands cut off. And Belwar's like, no. He's the one who managed to only make it my hands cut off.
He's the one that I am alive because of him. And he is kind of shocked because he recognizes like, oh my goodness, 10 years. And it's like, oh wow, yeah. And what's Belwar known as, remind me?
Most honored burrow warden.
Yep.
Elrond Disengulp. He is honored among the deep gnomes for surviving the drow because he's the only survivor of that whole party. And he managed to make it back without his hands in the Underdark. So they give him a place of honor and privilege. He's basically raised to a level of a noble, which burrow wardens already are noblemen, basically.
And he doesn't quite like that because he feels very guilty about everyone else dying by him.
He feels very guilty because he feels like it's my failure for getting all those men dead because it was my hubris for going there in the first place. And then Driz is the one who has to point out to him, it's like, if you didn't go, it would have just been somebody else. So. I love it. Berwog is a Chad. He is like the coolest.
He really is. He's like if you're reading them in chronological, he's like the Chad before you meet Brunner.
Brunner, yeah. Because Beryl, he's the one who helps Driz kind of like readjust to a society, especially a society that actually has trust in it. Because the Deep Gnomes, the younger Deep Gnomes, there's a scene where they are talking to Driz and they basically invite him outside. The kids basically came to play with Driz, right?
And they come up later too. They come up actually later in Starless Night.
Yeah, we get to see what those kids are up to.
Yeah, it's a setup and a payoff. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. So we and there is the statue of a drow because they asked Driz what's it like being an adventurer, because that's basically what Driz is at this point. And Driz has he basically has a PTSD flashback to fighting the basilisk during this event. And Balrog, he doesn't call Driz off. He basically tells the guards off, leave him alone. And he just basically helps Driz process everything that's been happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
While all that's going on.
They got a good friendship going on. And then meanwhile, back in
Minzo Branson, one of the Deep Gnomes is meeting with Jarlaxle. Because they're having an information exchange.
Mm-hmm. And he accidentally reveals a little bit too much about a drow elf being with them.
Yep. And Jarlaxle basically tells them, like, you'd realize we're going to come for him, right? Like that, Jarlaxle, this is one of the parts that makes Jarlaxle so cool. He's dropping subtle hints to this guy, all with the intention of getting as much money out of him as possible.
Yeah, but it's also funny cool. Too, he likes the game they play, but he also, at one point in the inner monologue thing, he's like, I just like him too. He is a cool guy.
This guy's kind of cool. Funny I actually like, I think his name is like Frenrin or something like that. Because he's also the nobleman who actually Driz talks to get to Balrog, the guy who actually takes Driz into captivity.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like cool like one-off characters. You notice that a lot in these books. Even like some of the minor characters get a little.
There's part of this exchange where he's paying Jarlaxle for the information, and he's like, "Okay, what is it that the drow want?" Jarlaxle holds his hand out for the gemstone, and he's like, "We're looking for a drow." And gives him like the most like smart ass, basic nada information moment, and he's like makes him get specific with it. And it's like such a con man thing to do.
It's great. Oh man, this is like Ari Salvatore. I think got it like best with these first two. Not saying like the rest of his work. Obviously, we kept reading; they're good. But these, I don't know. These two especially just felt very. I don't know. They flowed very well together.
Yeah. So eventually, the king kicks Driz out of Blingdenstone because they're afraid the drow are going to come for him, and they don't want a war.
Yeah, and we got to speak about what's happening in the drow, though, specifically House Dorden, because they have some shenanigans they got to come up with in order to get Dritz, because Loth is impatient, and they incur her greatest and most feared gift ever.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that because I need to use the bathroom. But you describe all that happens because there's a lot.
So, but they basically do. I can't remember what the name of this monster is, but they summon basically a wraith, and a wraith to come and possess the bones of Zaknafane. So he has all of Zaknafane's skill, and they send this off after Driz, with the intention to capture him and bring him back alive so they can sacrifice him. And because this is Zaknafane, nothing's going to be able to stand up to it. Absolutely not a thing. So Driz and Balrog, because Balrog joins Driz in this exile from Blingdenstone, they just set off into the Underdark. And they run into a couple of things. They run into like a lake of acid where they fight some dire Kobees, which are basically raven people in the Underdark. They're kind of crazy things. They're very a minor event, but this acid pond, it's very important at the very climax of the book. They run into a hook horror, which was forcibly transformed into a hook horror by an evil wizard from the surface.
Yeah, a human wizard. Drizzt's first introduction to humans.
And it's not a very good introduction.
Yeah, he gets some he gets some like, okay, what are humans? Because there's a whole inner monologue of like humans are bizarre.
Humans are weird. Like they don't make
You
sense.
get,
They're way
you
too
get like
varied. They're strange. And I like that because everybody always talks about how boring humans are in fantasy. Because we're all humans. We're all humans. You can be humans regularly. But I loved getting this from a fantasy creature's perspective. And it's like humans are strange. Like this one group of humans will be this way, but then this other group of humans will be radically different. Like, how does that happen? Like they don't quite understand like these nuances humans have. And humans are also really short-lived and they accomplish so much and then it all goes away just as fast. It is fascinating to see that perspective of humanity from like the long-lived aloof races of the world.
it, yeah, it is very interesting because yeah, it is like yeah, it's true. We are very because you look at the other races that are okay. Elves predominantly good for the most part. Drows predominantly evil for the most part. Orcs, and then you get humans who are like flip a coin.
Flip a coin.
You'll
You
get
don't know
some
what you're going to
best.
get with the individual human.
Yeah.
It's almost like individuality is something that doesn't quite exist with the other races. That's something that's almost unique to humans.
Well, that's what makes it interesting though too. Is a lot of the Drit stories deal with like finding individuality with other races. Like, because I mean, at some point they're going to make an orc. I think he gets mentioned at least once in the third book. The keen orc guy who is like not a bad person. Surprised,
Yeah.
like, and he's like leads all these other orcs and is trying to unite them and not be as evil. It's just like that is interesting. That is fascinating. That I get. That's a big theme of these stories is finding those types of individuals within like evil races and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you mention the you mentioned Zach being a
Yeah.
zombie and whatnot? Kind of.
I don't remember what the monster is called. I don't remember what this creature is called.
Yeah, I can't. Oh well, I can. Come on, where's the? I can probably find it real quick in this. Again,
Yeah.
that's the nice one. This visual.
But he
It
has to,
should tell theoretically.
he's being controlled by malice. And it's showing like the strain on malice, and malice is like aging really fast while having to like strain to control this creature while it's off hunting Driz.
Zincarla. Zincarla.
Zincarla, yeah.
And during this though, this is how they get rid of the House Hanut. House Hanut gets like disbanded and is absorbed into
House Duarden.
the house.
Yeah.
Yep. And none of them like this. So, but she makes a big thing like she's going to sacrifice Risen in order to get the Zincarla ceremony going. But she tricks it and kills the former matron mother of House Hanut.
Yeah. And then she has Zaknafane kill Risen.
Yes, and towards when Risen asks, like, can Zaknafane be trusted? Can this thing be trusted? And she's like, yeah, you can hit him and whatnot, and he'll take it. Hit him. And Risen does it. And it's an interesting culmination between this little, like, arc between, like, because Risen and Zach, as you mentioned, they had an argument. They have this, like, not a rivalry, but, like, they don't like each other. And it's interesting how that is resolved. And it's when Zach is already dead and he's killed by the zombified person, like kind of the just the fighter, the thing that Risen feared the most.
He's killed by his ghost, basically.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like,
it's hilarious because we're getting Risen's point of view during that, and Risen, he can tell what's about to happen. He knows it's going to happen, but he doesn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah. He could, but he doesn't, and he just. Which is funny because he, after thinking he's just been like saved and whatnot, because he was drugged during that ceremony, he was barely there. He thought that was it.
He was on the coffin, I think.
Yes, he was. He was on. He was there. He was next to the body. Like it was about to happen.
They put him on the altar.
Yeah, it was. everyone except for Malice, everyone thought it was game over for him, and then it was game over later. It was just very interesting how they got rid of him.
I think it was just Malice and Brisa who were the only two who knew, outside of the Yokla, who Malice told telepathically what was about to happen to approve of the
Yep.
ceremony.
Because if the yokel didn't approve, then she would just kill Risen.
Yeah. As I'm sorry for having disturbed you, sir, madam.
Well,
The yokel are
really,
female.
you don't get a yokel out without.
The handmaidens of Loth, you don't just summon those.
Unless you're Alston, who just summoned them twice, I think, in order to get answers, and both times it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
But so and then Dritz is he finds the Hokor transformed. They meet
Pluck.
the wizard. Accidentally kill said wizard, and so they can't
Can't
undo
change
the
Pluck back, unfortunately.
Yep,
It is a
and
shame. Pluck is such a tragedy. Because he's slowly losing his mind to this Hokor persona.
Yeah, it's again that individuality, trying to establish that and keep it while also slowly just becoming a Hokor. And there's nothing that can about it. And
all the time, Belrol is kind of like, we should just kind of put him out of his misery, because eventually he's going to be a danger to us. And it's not something Belrog says with any sort of like, not even like with the attitude of it has to be done. He's like, man, I hate this. Man,
it's not something he just says like, the practical. Like, no, they're both very conflicted. They know what has to happen, but they're still holding out hope they can find something. Unfortunately, what they find is mind flayers.
We forgot to mention.
That was the other ally I was mentioning. You were thinking Drax. I was thinking the Mind Flayer companion.
I was thinking the Mind Flayer, but we got so distracted by Jarlaxle's coolness.
Because he's so cool.
Jarlaxle has the Riz, all right? So there is a Mind Flayer as ambassador to this colony, to the Drow. It's Neilhall, I think it is.
Oh, I got the name in here. Oh man,
he's a fascinating character too, because they're weird.
Yeah, Orindal.
Norindal, yeah.
Yeah, Oryndol.
They make Mind Flayers properly strange. They're weird. They're creepy.
I mean, they got Drow prisoners, but Drow are their favorite because they got nice hands to massage that nice Mind Flayer elder.
They gotta massage that elder brain
constantly and keep it in care. And then they got like gladiatorial rings. So yeah, they easily capture Dritz and his two companions, and then they just start studying them. And they study the Hokor.
Yep.
They
put him in charge of keeping the Rythan. They're basically like Underdark cows.
Yeah, and then they have Dritz keep the brain going.
Keep the brain massaged. And they put Bolrog in the gladiatorial ring.
Yep, and while they start studying Gwynevere saves the day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gwynevere
is like, why are these Mind Flayers spying on me?
That shows like Gwynevere is intelligent, because he keeps the hunt going. Like, he doesn't break his pattern. He keeps it going while just mindfully aware of, there are these things watching us. I will not act until they try and leave. And when they try and leave, he attacks.
Kills one in the astral plane. What a horrible way to die.
Yeah, because the Mind Flayer is just the body is just nothing now.
It severs the soul from the body. The body's not dead. It's just lifeless.
And Gwynevere is able to grab onto them to be able to come out of the figurine and rescue Belwar, and then Belwar in turn rescues Drizzt, and then it just becomes
because they rescue Drizzt. Pluck breaks out of the control, throws a Durgar into the lever that controls the bridge from this platform he's on. That was the funniest part, is that he chucks a Durgar. Like,
they don't like Durgar, so
Durgar are assholes. I don't like them at all.
Belwar has his priorities.
No, trust me. We're eventually going to play Out of the Abyss. You'll come to hate Durgar too.
Oh, I imagine.
The Grey Dwarves are some of the biggest. If the Drow are the most evil race imaginable, the Durgar are just the biggest pricks. Right? They're fucking assholes, man. They're just pricks. There's no reason for them to be just as like nasty as they are.
Yeah. Well, the ones we meet are worshiping like a black dragon, a shadow dragon.
Yeah. Well,
so, yeah. Well, that's later. We'll talk later.
they escape. They escape the mind flayers because Zachnafane shows up, and for hyper intelligent creatures, you would think the mind flayers would have figured out, hey, our mind blasts aren't working on this thing. Maybe it's time to try something else.
Yeah. They try, but I think it's because they're severed from the elder brain that they're just in panic mode.
They're in panic mode. There's a bunch of slaves are trying to make their escape.
It's like
the hive mind is broken at this point.
Zach's just been like on a big blood spree too. He's just been killing everything that's in his way, and once he finally gets to them, the mind flayers, he's just going to town, and then he and Dritz go at it, and it's a great fight. They go at it for pretty much, I mean, for real. It's not saying they didn't do it for real, but this is
it is for real because it's Zachnafane embodied, but not technically a spirit. So it's just the skills. Although Driz manages to reach to the spirit because the book makes a big deal about how big, like, you bringing back the dead in such a way like this, so close with so much of their knowledge and their skills, it is very dangerous to bring the soul back as well. Zachnafane manages to get control for like a minute. Does it to say, I'm proud of you, Driz. Get out of here. Go, escape, be free. And then throws himself into a pit of acid they ran into earlier.
Yep. He does kill the hook or two. He
does unfortunately kill Pluck. Oh.
Yeah, which sucks, but at the same time, it was one of those, it was happening because Pluck was also attacking them at various points in the story. Like it was just a matter of time, and Pluck at least went out.
I think
trying to be a hero.
I think they ran into Dire Kobe's again, and Pluck ran off ahead chasing a Dire Kobe, and that's how he runs into Zachnafane. Because at that point, Pluck is almost like 99% hook order in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's done for. Like it is a mercy to put him down at that point.
Yeah, and it at least it also like the other characters don't have to do the deed. It saves them from making that choice.
And it's still a tragedy. It's like
it is still sad because Belwar or not Pluck tries. Pluck tries and it fails. And then we also did you mention that Guinevere almost died by acid?
Right, I forgot to mention that Guinevere gets pushed into the acid by these Dire Kobe's. They bring her back to the material plane because she turns into mist when she technically dies, when her mortal form dies. They bring her back and basically her skin is sloshing off.
Yeah, they immediately send her back because they don't know how this thing works. They are figuring out how this works, kind of thing. Because even Driss doesn't know, the Massage didn't know how to work. You took them 10 years to like figure out what the state is or something. So this never happened, and so they immediately send Guinevere back because the figurine was like sizzling. It's like, oh, is that bad? Is it going to burn? And then they figure out, okay, no, that's how they figure out what's happening. But he and Zach fight, and then Zach, he gets regained control for a little bit and jumps into acid, and Malice loses all favor with Loth at that point. She's failed, and Briza kills her.
Briza kills her.
And she becomes the master of House Dorden for like 5 minutes before
Brigandine comes storming in and killing everyone.
Yeah, Benary is like, oh the Benary is like, if you fail, don't worry, we got you covered. Drax will take.
We got you covered. And this is where Jarlaxle recruits only 2 of them because they kill Briza. They kill like most of the soldiers. I think most of the soldiers gave up immediately.
So they kill Briza. They kill the youngest sister,
who didn't matter.
Maya. And
Maya
then
Maya did
Virna,
nothing. Maya
no,
does nothing. I cannot stress this enough. Maya did not need to exist. Right?
yeah, well, she's there. She takes the arrows for Virna, so Virna can escape to the
She's there
priest's
so
temple.
Virna can live. She becomes a pincushion.
She really does.
The
She has like
situation it can
no.
be solved by Virna not being on that balcony. That's all that had to be changed.
And then then Draxel confronts Dinan, and they have a conversation. Draxel like sees potential in Dinan,
Yeah.
and so lets him live. And it's cool because it's like they have a little interest. They have an interesting relationship, though it gets cut short, unfortunately.
They have a bromance for a second. No, it's not
They
like that.
really do. Yeah, they really do. He's like the precursor to Draxel and
Artemis, yeah.
Entry, yeah.
Yeah. And basically Dinan is the one who tells Jarlaxle is like, no, don't go after Driz. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
He tells Driz
Yeah,
straight up. No, he tells Malice and Jarlaxle's like, I will not go fight Driz willingly. There is not a force in this planet or in the abyss that can make me go fight him again.
Yeah, he says the same thing to Virna. He says it to all, and it's funny because Draxel respects that. He's like, I like you enough to respect that decision. I take because that is good advice, and he's right. He is right.
Yep.
Every time they go after him, it does not go well.
It does not go well. Dinan is absolutely right. There is no force that could make him do it that wasn't magical.
Yeah, it bites him in the butt, but yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
But then Belwar goes back to
They go back to Blingden Stone. They find a path to the surface world. Jarlaxle says his goodbyes, and we end with Driz. I'm getting confused.
Yeah, because Drizzt realizes he'll put them all in danger if he keeps staying. Because Drizzt doesn't know that his family has just been wiped out. He doesn't know about any of that. He thinks Malice is going to still keep hunting him, so he doesn't want to put his friends in danger. So he leaves to do the surf.
Yep. And that's where we get into Sojourn.
Yeah,
I love everyone's Drizz's like first few days on the surface. Like winter, his first winter, he is panicking. I love it. It's like, oh my god, it's slowly getting darker and darker. I got to the surface just in time for the world to end.
It is really nice just him experiencing the world for the first time. Snow, sun, flowers, because it takes a while for him to get adjusted to it all. And then he doesn't want to be like the hunter. He doesn't want to be isolated. He wants to try and find people, and it goes bad.
It goes bad. Before that, because he's figuring out what winter is, he barely survives that first winter. He goes into a cave. He finds a little thing digging in his food. And that's his first run-in with a skunk.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, what is this little thing? Oh, it's kind of cute. Look at it. It's trying to back up. It's like, oh, God. Ah! I love Guinevere's reaction. Guinevere's reaction, because Guinevere knows what this thing is. Guinevere peeks around his body and then books it. And Driz is like, maybe I should be worried about this thing. That's when it sprays him.
It's so fun. You just get a lot of stuff like that, and then unfortunately, what's the creature? Because they don't live very long. What's the creature that's there that causes a lot of issues for him?
There's two things. There's first
the gnolls.
I forget what they're called. There's not something I'm very familiar with. They're definitely like a second edition monster, but they're basically some sort of like minor fiend, not necessarily a demon, but. They come from I
remember looking them up because they lead into that kind of thing. It's like it's like their baby steps before they get into like the bigger.
Yeah, they're here. They're here to eat life, and once they eat enough life force, they grow into maturity, and then they go back to like Gehenna. I think it is.
Mm-hmm. And essentially, while Driz he finds his farm, he's slowly interacting with the kids. That's where he gets the interaction with like his name, trying to pronounce his name, because that's very.
Is it Jizzit? And we also meet like probably one of my personal favorite characters, the huntsman, the bounty hunter guy.
Yep, Roddy.
Roddy and his dogs.
Yeah, Roddy and what's Roddy? Is it McGissel? Is that his last name?
McGristle. Yeah. Roddy McGristle.
Gristle.
And he's like,
he's an interesting one.
he's like, nah, there's no way it's a drow. These kids are seeing a drow. Let's just go back there and we'll figure out that it was probably just like a large cat. And lo and behold, Guinevere pops out and runs off. And he's immediately like, wait a minute, this thing's acting way too smart. What's actually going on here? And he has a fight.
He lags behind.
Yeah, he has a fight with Driz. And he almost wins that fight, except he accidentally cuts a tree down on him.
Yeah, and to be fair, Driz was holding back as well. He's not trying to kill anyone. He kills one of the dogs.
He kills one of the dogs, but it's in self-defense, and he feels bad about it. So,
he feels terrible. That's the thing. He feels terrible about this whole ordeal because this first encounter with humans, the people in the living world, it goes bad, and then it gets worse.
This is his second encounter with humans, and it's been bad both times.
And then this null deity thing is observing all this and uses it as a way to frame him and goes in and kills the family.
And shapeshifts as him. And then that's when we get the Ranger and her crew step in as well.
Ranger, who hasn't shown up yet in the book, but her sister does.
Yeah, I think it's Laurel Silverhawk.
Yeah.
I think
her, but you do meet the dwarf does show up.
Figwit, I think it is. Is it Flint?
No. The one that's all very. You meet him a few times. The one that's very,
the dwarf who's really an elf. That's the gag.
Yeah. He's just very cleanly and hates all the dirt.
He's a fop. He's a scholar by trade. He's this very neatly dwarf who's trying to get this elven ranger who's more of a dwarf than he is to be
Fret. That's the name. Fret. They nicknamed him Fret because he's very fretful.
He's fretful. I like him. I actually do like him. He's funny.
Oh yeah.
He immediately hates McGristle. I think McGristle touches his shoulder and leaves like a big patch of like grime. And he's like, if you touch me again, I'm going to break your knees. They also team up with an elf and a knight. The elf, Corlander, not Corlander. It's the
Calendil?
Calendil. Yeah, he's a little bit more important out of this party.
Well, for a little bit, like he observes Dritz after they all leave because they essentially, I think Dove is her name, is the elf's name. That's the sister to the main one of the Silver Marshes.
Yeah,
they figure out quickly that Dritz has nothing to do with like the killings, and especially when
because
they find the body.
The way the family was killed is like this wasn't even done by a mortal. Like this person's like eaten in half. This person was slammed into the ceiling. The sword is broken in half. Like an elf didn't do this. They couldn't physically have done this, which is a shame because this family, we spend some time with them and they just get butchered.
Oh yeah, they get massive. Well, that because you start rooting for Driss when he just shows up at the cave and kills them all. It's a big.
Oh, he kills everyone. He kills them.
Everyone but that little fairy thing or whatever. That buzzes around.
The Quickling.
Yeah, the Quickling.
I think he drops a rock on the hill giant's head. Is that what happens?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, he knocks him off a cliff. Yeah, he invokes that hunter just to kill them all.
Yeah, and he's like, "How dare you kill this family?" Like, he's not even mad that he's the one getting blamed for it. He's just like, it's pure justice.
Yeah, that's all that's going through his head is just pure unadulterated rage. And
then after that, he's just like, I have got to stay away from civilization. I can't be near anybody ever.
Yep.
And then the bounty hunters, the adventuring party goes after him. They find the cave and they find all the bodies, and it's like,
they all realize he didn't do it. Roddy knows, like, even beforehand, I think it said, he knows Dritz didn't do any of this, but he's just wants revenge.
He wants revenge for being showed up like that. I like McGristle as a villain, but I don't like him as a person. He's a fucking dick.
Oh well, he does. Yeah, he takes Canterbury as a hostage and threatens things. It's like, yeah, he's not a good person, but he's a very interesting villain. Like, he is a good villain for Dritz to like essentially overcome.
Yeah, it's like that constant, persistent nature. That's pretty much what he represents.
He's the represents the bad of humans, but it also leads him to finding the good and essentially one Montolio, who is another good. These three books, Dritz gets like a good mentor in each one. He gets Zach in the first one. He gets
Elrog.
a Belwar in the
Belwar.
second one, and then he gets it. All comes full circle with the Blind Ranger Montolio
Yeah.
in the third one,
So-
and
I have to mention this real quick. So Drizzt manages to lose the party because they run into some stone giants. Drizzt helps them fight the stone giants by basically causing an avalanche. But Fred has a wonderful line in this when they're fighting the stone giants. He pulls out a mace and he goes, "I'm still a dwarf." Because the dwarves hate giants.
It's great.
Yeah.
Fred, I'm glad they brought Fred back a few times.
Yeah.
And then, it's also funny they mentioned that the Dove character, the sister of the main Silvermarsh character, she hasn't shown up after this one yet, but it is mentioned that she's a big fan of Dritz.
Oh yeah, she's a big fan of him.
I find that hysterical that she was there for his first encounter, but hasn't had the chance to meet him yet so far.
Yeah, great. So the elves, they basically help Drizzt get through his second winter by leaving him food and wood because they kind of realize he knows nothing about the surface. he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He is.
They keep an eye on him and whatnot, and then Montolio takes care of him,
Drizzt
and he learns
spends
a lot.
the winter with a bear. It's great.
Yeah, and Montolio's like, you spent a winter with a bear? That bear lets no one near him. Good for you. You are definitely a ranger, and starts teaching him about like kind of religion. What's the goddess that he
Maliki.
Maliki.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
Montolio is Montolio's really cool. He does that blind mentor trait. He's got the owl companion that does all the sightseeing for him. Because they run into some orcs. So the owl would just fly over top of the orcs, hoots, and that's it for that orc because Montolio is going to shoot them with a bow.
Yep. It's great. Montolio, and we fought a red dragon as well, is what caused
It's much later. So Montolio and Drizzt, McGristle basically gets the orcs to go and charge Montolio's grove.
And
they
stop by those two and the elves.
Yep.
And all their traps.
And all the animal companions, including the bear from before. It's just like
no, but you're mentioning. I know where you're talking about the red dragon later. I was saying like Montolio's background, the why he was blind from a red dragon.
Right. From the red dragon, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
not that I don't think it was that specific red dragon that is encountered later. I think it was a different one.
Nah, it is definitely a different dragon. Yeah.
I think they killed that dragon. Because Montolio was a badass, but
yeah, I think he does say that him and his party managed to kill that dragon.
But they do, after defeating the orcs and imparting a lot of wisdom, Montolio does pass away from old age.
The adventurer dies of old age.
Yeah, kind of a rarity.
There's one part during the fight where Drizzt casts darkness on Montolio's shield. So Montolio just charges into battle because all the orcs are now blind, but Montolio's used to being blind, and he's just smacking them with a club. It's great.
And then after Drizzt decides not to stay in the grove, he does go out to venture in the world, with a lot of the wisdom Montolio imparted upon him about people and such. And he meets a lot. Most of the time he gets rejected and has to run away and go somewhere else until he eventually comes across
these monks to
the monks. Yeah, he helps the monks and whatnot to the red dragon. But yeah, the quickly
monks are basically the Three Stooges. Basically what they are. Yeah,
and then Roddy's also still all these years still like thinking about Dritz, and he has the Quickling as his little guide. And
Yeah.
eventually, the Quickling tries to kill Dritz with the dragon, but it fails. And Roddy wants to kill Dritz himself, so he puts the Quickling in a bag and then just smashes it against a rock.
Yeah, that Quickling deserved it. That Quickling was
The
evil.
Quickling started this whole chain of events. So yeah, that
Yeah.
Quickling got a well deserved end. But it's just funny how Roddy just treats it like, no, you're fine. Just get in the bag so I can carry you. It'll be easier. Yeah, you're fine. And then just quickly just smashes him against rocks until it's dead. It's just like, holy moly.
Yeah, McGristle has gotten a little mad. So Driz retreats to Icewind Dale. That's where he ends up. He meets Bruner. Bruner Battlehammer, patron of Clan Battlehammer.
Oh, yeah.
Bruner, I think, is everybody's favorite character. That's what he is.
He's up there for sure. She's just someone you want as a friend is really what it is. He's just and yeah, so he's the clan leader of these dwarves that have been like essentially they've had to leave their original Mithril Hall. They had to leave because they got overrun by something. We don't know what it is, but something happened.
And that happened
so
when
they've
Bruner
had-
was a child, and now he's like in this book he's
Yeah.
not middle aged yet, I think.
No.
No,
He's still a young dwarf. He hasn't reached that age because at one point every dwarf will make a weapon that they'll never be able to craft again, kind of thing. Their best weapon. He hasn't
their
reached that
magnum
point
opus,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't reached that yet, but he's getting close. And then, he meets Bruner. He's also has an adopted daughter, Caddy
Bree.
who's a human. Families were killed by goblins and whatnot.
Caddy Bree is like 7 in this book. It's very awkward.
She's 11. She is 11.
She's 11.
It is still
awkward.
when so future Dritz and Cadbury are going to fall in love and whatnot. When the first book was written, she is 21.
She was 21. It's part of the problem that there's a prequel series that came after the original.
Yes.
It's also the fact that you have to remember Driz is still technically a kid.
Yeah, elf years wise, he's like he's like teenage. Even though it's like been 40 years, he's still in terms of like the mindset. He's still like very very young for an elf. You're not considered an adult till you're like past 100 or something like that.
Yeah,
in
and
terms of D&D.
I also want to point out that Driz doesn't do anything like grooming or whatever. That's just the fact that we live in this day and age, and these books were written in the 80s, so it wasn't a thought.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a thought. So
they did not. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, nothing. I don't even think the intention for a while was for them to fall in love until much later.
Because it really does just kind of come out of nowhere. The love triangle. It really does.
Yeah.
I don't like the love triangle. I think it's kind of dumb. I think it's stupid. In the modern age, it's creepy retroactively, even though that's not the intent. It's obviously not.
Yes, it's weird. It's weird. I think it would be all fixed if an adaptation ever had to happen, you make this a show, you would fix.
Just don't do it. I wouldn't do it. It, as far as I know, what we've read of the book so far, it doesn't go anywhere anyway.
Not yet. I know future like get married and whatnot, get a kid, but that does not happen yet. But he does meet Canterbury, and Canterbury's the one that is the only one that accepts him and talks to him. Not even
immediately accepts him. It's kind of dumb on her part because Icewind Dale's a dangerous place with yetis and Rizamirs and goblins, and she's like, "I'm gonna go talk to the dark elf."
Well, I think she observes him for a bit. It's not like immediate, aha, I'm going to talk. It's like everyone's treating this guy weird when he hasn't done anything to offend us. What's the deal? And then after some observation, I think she does get in trouble. Then he saves her, and then
Bruner's kind of like, maybe he's not that bad, but he's a dwarf and stubborn.
Yes, he is very stubborn.
And then Bruner has a run-in with Rizmir, and one of those ice worms things
Mm.
that breathe
Yep.
fire and stuff. They're freaking cool monsters. I really like those. And Driz tries to help, but he kind of arrives late, and Bruner kills this thing single-handedly. And then Bruner's like, "All right, you want to have a go? You want to have a tussle? You want to fight? I can still take it." Bruner's almost half dead.
Yeah. Driss just leaves, and it's like, oh, I see how that is.
I see how it is. I'm not good enough for you, am I?
and he and then he thinks about later, like, yeah, I shouldn't have said all.
He was trying to come and save me. That's what he was really trying to do. Nah, he was trying to kill me while I was down. That's what it is. I just scared him off.
It's so funny. And then Roddy shows up, and
Gristle shows up.
He has to talk to Bruner. He wants Dritz. And Bruner, that's where his development comes. He's like, no, you don't get to have, no, I'm not helping in any way, shape, or form. You get out.
Get out.
Well, he's also thinking more about what dogs taste like, because he never tried dog.
I'm kind of glad that character trope was dropped immediately, because it was weird. It's like Bruner just tasting random things. Like, what did they taste like?
Yeah. Well, the whole point of that is specifically the line, his final conversation with Dritz at the end of this book. But before we get to that, though, yeah. So so Roddy sees that Canterbury likes Dritz based on reactions, and captures her, holds her hostage to fight Dritz. Dritz shows up, they fight, and Dritz beats Roddy, but notices that Dritz will not kill Roddy. He will not, and so he keeps taunting Dritz, and will start punching him and do all this sort of things. He's like, you won't do anything to stop me. Haha, I will get you one day. And then Bruner shows up when Canterbury goes to find Bruner to ask for help.
Bruner has no qualms about killing this man. He's like,
and Roddy knows him. And then, Bruner's like, get along back to the mines. And then Canterbury's like, get him good. And then Bruner just beats the crap out.
Canterbury does not wish harm on a lot of people. But Canterbury is totally okay with this one.
This guy had it coming. Well, and Roddy's dog loses a leg too.
I feel bad for the dog. The dog didn't deserve that.
He's still alive. The dog's still alive, just missing a leg.
Yeah.
But you get the nice little line where Bruner and Dritz, they meet again. They start talking, and Bruner's like, nothing's what it seems. Nothing. You try to follow what you know, but then you find what you know not what you thought you know. Saw the dog be tasting good, looking good enough, but now my belly's cursing me every move. And it's essentially his way of saying sorry, and yeah, you're a better person than I thought. I apologize.
And he basically tells Dritz, you're welcome in my halls whenever you want, because Dritz saved Canterbury, and that was the best way to get Bruner's heart. So, and then they became best friends.
They really do. They have the best connection. Well, it's also, I think, part of it. Dritz realized that of all of the companions and friends he's going to make, Bruner's going to live the longest.
Yeah.
For the companions of like the Hall, essentially. Obviously, he meets the one elf later on from Silver Hall, but yeah. Well, yeah, that is the end of the
first trilogy.
That
was
first trilogy.
2 hours 16 minutes.
There's a lot to talk about,
There is a lot to talk about. I really enjoy these books. I think we're gonna have to divide this up, maybe into series, and then talk about the next set of series.
Do you want to do it? Have we been doing like by trilogy? Because that ends the first trilogy, and then the next trilogy is I think they call it the Crystal Shard trilogy.
Crystal Shard, Streams of Silver, Halfling's Gem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the next trilogy, like the Gem trilogy or something like that. I forget what it's called off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then the next one the next one's Legacy, Starless Night. That will be 4 books, but those books are also kind of shorter.
Yeah, not as much happens in them.
Yeah, the only one I think we'll be talking about the most would be like Legacy, Siege of Darkness, and then Passage to Dawn. I think Starless Night, that one's pretty like simple in terms. Dritz goes back,
goes back to Minso Branson and see what's going on there.
Yeah, he's filled in on the plot.
I feel like Siege of Darkness and Passage to Dawn are the ones we're going to talk about the most.
Yes,
because Siege of Darkness, like, that's the best one of the 4. It really is.
Oh yeah, that's the epic. I mean, you could have your conclusion there, but I mean, there's
There's
more
just
to be happening.
one last loose end to tie up in Passage to Dawn.
Yep, and it's great.
Oh,
Oh man,
I really
we have
liked that fight.
yes, it's such a good build up too. There's a lot of good. That's the thing. We haven't gotten to like some of the books. We got like we just talked about like the prologue. We haven't really talked about Icewind Dale because we don't really know much about Icewind Dale until the next one. The
Yeah.
Crystal Shard itself.
Which is technically the first book. I'm the
Yeah.
Some of you probably know, but the Crystal Shard introduces this character named Hairtu, and he's a Baelor, and he's introduced in the first book, and then we don't see him again until Siege of Darkness, and he's the last thing they have to take care of. So it's literally like book end with what happens in Crystal Shard.
Mhm. That's I feel like that was the intention because again, the Passage of Dawn from the Wiki, it was supposed to be the end for these books, and I could totally see it.
Yeah.
It's just again, yeah, you have it beginning again. If you're going to do a show, this is you got. I think they should. You do each book would probably be a season, depending on some of them you could probably put into like 2 books into one season. I could. Totally
I
see
think
that,
so.
but
Maybe we can probably shorten up the first 3 books into one season, probably.
I think the first 2 probably be one season, and then the because I remember reading them, I was thinking like this would be a good adaptation. I know Netflix is thinking about they're doing like Forgotten Realms or something, but it's like
Yeah, and
and then
if they
wanted
do it, Driz is probably like top contender because even like the mainline Forgotten Realms books that focus on Elminster are nowhere
he's
near
like
as popular. They're
yeah
nowhere near.
he's like one of the most commonly recognized like D&D characters. If you're asking a specific D&D character, aside from maybe the cartoon, I think you would probably start thinking of Driz.
Yeah,
Um, he has a legacy.
he does.
He's
I
got
mean,
a
like
good
what,
legacy.
23 books? That's a staggering amount of books.
He's beloved. I mean the scimitars, his outfit,
Yeah,
his weapons. I mean there's a lot. Guinevere as a companion as well. Is there's just and his whole backstory. There's just something about him that just I think people just resonate with as
I
well. People
really
understand.
honestly think it's just because he feels like a player character. This feels like a character, and I say that about all the like the main party of characters: Driz, Bruner, Wolfgar,
Yeah.
Caddy, Bree, and Regis. They feel like player characters.
Hmm.
And it's not like, oh, we intentionally did this in a way like, haha, here's all this like little nod. And no, it's just like they feel like natural. This feels like an actual group of players playing at a table.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, and it's really good, and it's funny that they get separated a lot too. In these
Which
books.
happens a lot in old school D&D. They get separated all the damn time.
Yeah.
Driz has been known to Elminster, and for good reason. Yeah, because I like you at Greenwood. You came up with a really dope setting. You're a weird man. You're a very strange man.
Elminster, you have to inform me on Elminster.
So Elminster is he's the big wizard for the setting. So every like D&D setting has that wizard. Mordenkainen for the Greyhawk. We got Raceland for Dragonlance. Elminster's that wizard. He starts off as a thief, and he becomes the wizard in red. And I like Elminster. Ed Greenwood is a very old man with very old man tendencies. And Elminster's one of his big tricks is changing sex a lot and getting laid a lot. The books are written very much like 70s fantasy, and it's great and bad all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nowadays they'll screw up an adaptation of Ninja.
Yeah,
but yeah, because I mean these ones and then the Dragonlance are like your school D&D books, like the ones that are most known well.
Elminster. I'm going to have to refresh a lot of those books because, like, it's the same issue I had with the Dragonlance books after you have reread them. It's been years since I've read them, and the copies I read were, like, obviously abridged things because you're talking about things I barely remembered or were skipped over real fast. So
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I would recommend at least reading them, at least just for another discussion, because I would definitely love to.
oh yeah,
There's a lot I want to talk about those ones. Yeah.
I want to talk about the Dragonlance books. I gotta reread that trilogy. And I would love to have you on as we talk about the Warhammer books I suggested to you.
Yeah. Yep. I will be reading those soon. I'm gonna buy them. Hopefully, probably when I get paid, I'm gonna buy a few of them.
Yeah. So maybe after you read each one of those, and we can go through them, because I highly recommend reading the 3 orc books I gave you first, because those are personal favorites. Although I will say that Infinite and Divine is probably the best one of the books I've
Okay.
recommended to you.
Yeah.
Almost none of these are human focused. Especially
Alright, and I
because
got
you love big battles, and that's obviously Warhammer's big appeal.
Yep.
Actually, it's the big appeal so much that people complain that too many of the books are about big, huge battles. So you got plenty to choose from, my dude.
There you go. And then we mentioned the Heir to Thrawn trilogy.
The what? Oh yeah,
You mentioned
the Thrawn trilogy. I do
Empire.
want to read that. I do want to read the Yu Zhang Vong trilogy. I haven't read it. I know some of the things that happen in it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, I haven't read those either. Those would be.
I would love to
Interesting, though.
just talk about books with you. I think that would be great thing to do.
Oh yeah. It's just one of those, just find the time, I think, to read the books and getting to read
Find
them all.
time to read. All right. So before we go, there is one segment from the old Crow's Nest streams I used to do that I really liked and everybody else really seemed to like. So I'm going to bring it back for this one to kind of like have a nice cool down from the discussion. We are going to watch some magic.
Nice.
All right. So this is Paul Daniels performing my favorite variation of the rabbit from a hat trick. If this is working, everybody should be able to hear this.
Thank you, very nice. A long time ago, the very first Royal Command performance had on it a magician. The most famous magician in London at the time was David Devant, a great magician. And in those days, well, magic was different to the way that I present it. It was a lot different. And nowadays, the children look at the...
Are y'all able to hear it just fine? Everybody's good?
I can hear it. I don't know about, yeah.
All right. I just wanted to make sure because I love Paul Daniels. Rest in peace, you beautiful psychopath. Like,
badge of the magician.
Very
and when
charming.
they look at the badge of the magician, they see him, he's always pulling a rabbit out of something, and the children are confused. So I thought I'd go back a little way in magic and present that trick to you tonight. So let's do it. Can I have a round of applause for my lovely assistant, Miss Debbie McGee? She always helps me, and she's here tonight. Thank you, Debbie.
Oh, look how young and beautiful
Now, she
she
does something very
is.
strange. The stage slopes, as it always did in those days. So they used to lower something at the back for the magician to stand on, and then the table did not escape, and the orchestra finished up doing the act. Now, children, if you are viewing, this is important. That is not a vase, a vase, or a vase. That is a hat, a top hat. Nowadays, nobody wears them. But in Victorian times, when a man went to the disco, that was on his head. That was the top hat. Oh, and the trick was dead easy. Pulling a rabbit from a hat was really easy. Because in those days, they had a different fashion again. They had fat sleeves, not this thin stuff. So all they had to do was this. All they had to do was they just leaned on a piece of scenery, and once they were on the scenery like that, they would talk. And as they talked away, someone would drop a rabbit down the sleeve. See?
I love his
Oh, it's true.
patter.
This is where the expression obviously comes from, rabbiting off.
He's a great
Now,
talker.
the moment
So
the
easy
rabbit
to
was
follow,
in there,
I
the
love
magician would turn away from the wings and he would smile, he would sparkle, his eyes would
Correct.
flash, he would catch every eye in the theatre. And why? Because he had a big bulge here going like this. He would approach the hat, straighten his arm, the rabbit would go zonk into the bottom of there.
His misdirection
No,
is
poor little rabbit
great.
with it.
It's fantastic watching him perform.
Thinking my
I miss
agent
him so
promised me a
much.
part in Watership Down, and here I am. Now, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I should like to present for you all a world-famous rabbit from a hat. Thank you. This has nothing to do with the trick. This is just union rules for magicians. Please, however, take note that there is nothing at all up this sleeve. Here we... I'll start again. There's nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. And as you can all... You stand at this end of the table to do the trick. It's the only way. And then you reach into the hat and you produce a rabbit. You keep hold of the hat. And then, having kept hold of the hat, the magician would reach in and produce a rabbit from a hat.
Ta-da! Yay!
That's not a rabbit, that's a hare.
Union rules.
Ladies and
Union
gentlemen,
rules.
the trick that has fooled millions. It's for children, missus, all right? It's for children. Nobody said it was designed to fool an adult. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I can't find the rabbit, but I am a professional magician. I carry a spare.
You spare rabbit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the classic rabbit from a hat. I think the pesky wabbit is trying to get away. I shall sneak up on the pesky wabbit. The moment we have all been waiting for. Especially me.
Especially me.
Rabbit in my hat! Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm really sorry. You see, that's not supposed to be there at all. That's supposed to be on a hook, right round the back of the table. You see that? And then what you put it there.
That is beautiful.
Why are you laughing? You do not laugh, you do not applaud, until the magician produces a rabbit from a hat, like that. Hello. Out you go. There he is. Now, I stay a while here just to point something out, because I know a lot of people love animals and worry. Don't worry about Starsky. We call him Starsky. He's got a hutch upstairs. Okay? The hole in the hat is always bigger than he would tunnel in the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Always. Always bigger than he would tunnel in the ground. And just in case you thought that was a fluke, this is his big trick. Go on, son. Out you pop. Yes, Daddy loves you. And a lot of people will pick up their animals by the ears. Never do that, children. That's dangerous. Come on, son. Get in the hat. Take a bow. Don't forget the box. That's the box. And off you go. Bye now.
It is great showmanship. Yay, Paul Daniels. It really is my favorite version of the very classic magic trick. Love it, dear.
He's very classy.
Very classy. He passed away in 2014, unfortunately. We lost a real one that day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the red bunny is trying to go back in the hat. Yeah, it's where the bunny belongs, and it's in the hat. Bunny go in the hat. All right. So that's going to do it from us today. Make sure you check out Newsprint Comics on Fun My Comics. If you could, I really want that to go through. For some reason won't let me post the link again. Make sure you check out the streams. We'll probably be doing another stream later this week, probably a game stream where I try to play more Pokemon Emerald. I will definitely be doing another one of these streams next week. Next week, I'm supposed to have Amish, and me and him are going to go over the worst Dungeons and Dragons adventurer for 5th edition. We're going to be ripping it to shreds. Something I've been teasing for like 2 years now. We're finally going to do it. All right. So that will be it from us tonight. Thank you, Nick, for coming on. Can't wait to talk
Thank you
about
for
the
having
rest
me.
of the series with you.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, thank you again for having me. This was fun.
And thank you,
Well-
Lori. You've been a good assistant. Doesn't say much. But that will do it from me tonight. I'm Dr. Crow. I read a book once, and it's my goal to see you smile. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.